The Prodigal Son, Luke 15, a well-known parable about the love of God. In this parable that Jesus spoke, it's a story that reflects a situation and it has a message. There are three types of people in this story, and they respond to the prodigal son. Now, the situation was that the prodigal son had spent all his money, and his situation was made even worse. It was exacerbated by a drought. So he was in dire need to the point where his life was threatened. So circumstances were such that he needed to go back and to his father's place. And the fact that he decided to go back demonstrates an inbuilt expectation there that his father has a measure of grace and mercy, and that he can expect to find something there. So there's an expectation inbuilt in this prodigal son that he will find some relief from his father. The character of his father is such that he has a level of trust and realizes that he has abused that good character of his father. Nevertheless, he knows that he will find relief there. He goes back there feeling that he won't be turned away. Now, the response of the people in this story is interesting. The citizens look at this prodigal son and say, look, you reap what you sow, take your punishment. They have no sympathy for him at all. They believe that that sort of person is undeserving of any sympathy, and he's probably on starvation rations because of the drought, and be happy with that. And he was really hungry to the point where he was starving and probably in a very ragged condition. So that the citizens look at these people who are extreme examples of people who are wasteful and selfish and only think of themselves, and decided that, look, you don't deserve any quarter at all. So the other response is the elder brother. Now, when his brother returns, he's probably not so much put out that his father took him back, and if his father said to him, look, just work as a servant and for the rest of your life I disown you as a son, but if you work hard, I'll keep you on and redeem yourself a little bit. Probably the elder brother would have felt a level of satisfaction that this son is going to pay back the debt. I mean, maybe he would have preferred that his brother would be totally turned away, because he felt that he had served the father in all faithfulness. And it's interesting, the elder brother, it's not really his wealth that was squandered, but the father. The father's hard work, the father's possessions had been wasted. And the elder brother feels that this is not an occasion to celebrate. That's what he doesn't understand. He can't comprehend how a father would have such love towards a son that has gone the wrong way and then come back again. He just can't comprehend it. He doesn't see any justice in it. He feels it's a very unjust response. So he feels also that he has been neglected, and that his father has been treating him in a way that is not fair or just or equal. So in all of these respects, we see that the citizens and the elder brother don't believe that this prodigal son deserves any quarter, any sympathy, let alone a party. Now, the father's response obviously is a clear example of the joy and relief that the father felt And to him it was such an occasion to see his son just return to his home in one piece, healthy, alive, probably not all that healthy, but alive. And for him it was just a joyous occasion. That's the level of happiness and joy, that something that has been lost has been recovered. So we see a mirror here in this earthly father of the love of God, and that the prodigal sons, whether they be sinners repenting or Christians who have turned away from God and are returning to God, there's a message of grace there. Obviously we have to balance it with discipline. But this son came back and really threw himself at the mercy of his father. Do with me as you deem fit. And he acknowledged that he had been wrong. So this acknowledgement of us making mistakes before God and dishonouring God and the gifts that God gives us is a response that God rejoices in. He sees that. And I think that this would have touched the earthly father's heart as well when he saw his prodigal son return, that he realized that the boy had changed and become a man and changed in his ways, seen his errors, and that would have been part of the joy of the father. And I think that to God the appropriate response to sin is not to rejoice in it, not to justify it, but to acknowledge it and to acknowledge our sorrow for it. And this is a gift from God, a gift that we will repent and turn to God in faith. It's the working out of salvation in our hearts. And we can see that the overriding result that we have in people turning to God is one of a warm, loving welcome to exchange our ragged robes with the robes of God's righteousness, and to place that ring back on our finger, a expression of entitlement and an expression of honour and restoration to that former position as an heir of God. And I think that these are the things we need to put in our minds, that and to value, that these are things that bring joy to God's heart, and to pray for opportunities and to share the gospel of Jesus Christ, to share the gospel and not to be judgmental of sinners, not to be judgmental of backsliders, people who have turned away from God, but to pray for them to return to God with a heart that sees things as they are. And this will bring joy to God, and it will bring great joy to us. That joy will come to us and penetrate our hearts and fill us with that same joy. Just as the angels rejoiced with God, so we will join that celebration. So it's something we should aim for, something we should pray for, and look for opportunities and ask God to give us the courage, the wisdom and the strength to share the gospel of Jesus Christ with other people.